Alright guys, so we're back here with the Tornado 250. Make sure that okay, so we got a good view on it. Alright, so this is a 2018 Tornado 250cc 4-speed reverse. Made another video about me doing the rear wheel bearings on it. Why they failed and how to do the chain adjustment on these, because they do not have a chain adjuster bolts. So that's going to be on another video. But this one, doing the front wheel bearings. As you can see, they are really locked up. Probably just from riding in too much mud, submerging it in water, and all that nastiness. So rotor's a little messed up. So I started out with removing the tire. Over here it's basically excuse me, it was 4 17mm nuts. I was basically up in the front. Ended up removing the brake caliper. It was literally just two 12mm bolts on the rear. You need to remove that assembly as well. You just hang it off the side. Now we're going to move over to the cotter pin, basically holding everything together. I'm trying to do this in a short amount of time, so it's not too much video. So the center nut will be a this is 21mm on these ATVs. Take that out. You got your castle nut, your lock ring, and your little spacer wheel. So right off the bat, I mean, just by removing that, I don't know if I may have had it a little bit too tight, but we still have a lot of play on this side. Looks like the ball joints are still in pretty good shape, and I'm pretty sure I'll have to replace those eventually, but they're not leaking or anything. They move pretty freely, so it's not too bad. So on here you have this, you'll have your seal, the bearing underneath. You'll have another one on the back side as well. The other side was a whole lot worse. This one, as you can see, it's not super terrible. Normally they would slide out, but with the bearings being on there all seized up, I'm gonna have to force that out. So on this one, you're gonna start with a little spacer. That's just up in the front. Come in very handy. So hopefully I'll be able to get this seal out with not too much trouble getting that out. You can just kind of pop that out. I'm glad that this one's not destroyed, so I can actually get the little measurements off of it. So, and so you can see inside we do have a little bit of rust. We have the bearing. This one is still intact, so that's always a nice thing to see. Now on these, you'll have your inner and outer bearing, and in the center you'll have a little pipe. I'll show it to you on the other side. Sometimes you're able to just kind of slide these out usually, but this one being all rusted out, it's not really the ideal case in this situation. So give you a little different view. I mean, you can just hear that inner bearing is making a lot of noise. So hopefully this one will come out a little bit easier. Honestly, I just kind of give it a good smack. Should be able to break it loose. If not, we're just gonna go on the back side with the little pliers and hopefully be able to knock the whole thing loose. This one actually came out pretty easy. A couple little smacks. The other side, the bearing actually stayed on the shaft here. on the knuckle basically, and it was so rusted and everything, it just stays sealed to that. We can see on the inside that it's got a little bit of rust, so we're gonna have to clean all that up. And this one is definitely going to be fun for sure, just because we're gonna have to smack the heck out of the bearing just to get them out. I know it's kind of hard to see in there, but you'll have the bearing there, and as you can see, it should be basically spinning freely, and it's not doing that. The inside one is probably the most damaged one, but that one spins no problem. This inner one is completely seized up, which is why it was being so hard to turn. So that bearing right there is completely messed up. We're gonna go ahead and try to get that out here in a minute. Let's see if I can pop out this other seal. Basically make some room, which I think, let's see. It looks like these are two different kinds of seals on here. I believe the bearings are the same size. The seal really shouldn't matter. I mean, you can just tell how much dust and mud is in there, even with the seal engaged. So we'll see what happens when we give this bearing a couple of smacks, see if we can get it all pushed out. Pushing that one out a little bit, but it kind of went in between the race and the bearing itself. So come on, get that one out. So I know it's kind of hard to see in there, but there's that little center pipe that I was talking about inside. And we'll see what we can do here to get that little pipe out. Normally they don't give too much of an issue, but seeing that this one's the one that's all seized up, it's definitely gonna cause some problems coming out. So bigger the hammer, you know, the better. I don't have mine on me, so we're just trying to do what we can, what we do. I'm actually gonna switch over to my extension. Just like I had to do the rear ones. You basically just get you a socket you can fit in there, no problem. Just gonna get with the 11 millimeter because it's the one that at least use. See if we can't get in here. I'll give this a couple of smacks. There we go. So here's the bearing. Obviously it just fell apart from smacking it. You can see a little wheel bearings inside, and even with it being completely out, it's not moving at all. So that one you can tell was definitely bad. That one on the side. Here's the little center piece that I was talking about. We'll have to clean this out pretty well, get it all nice and shiny to its good glory days. And that's basically that just goes inside the hub itself, and it just sits between both bearings. So just right in here, and it'll basically just slide over the shaft right in here, just like that. and you should be good to go. Just in there, just to minimize the play. So now that we got that one out, now we're gonna have to push out the other one through the other side. Little rag down that we don't damage the rotor. So we'll do the exact same thing. Just kind of put that socket in there. That one came out a little bit easier. Not too bad. See if we can push that one out. See if that's the case. Yeah. You can see it already coming out. This one still moves, but it's still binding up, obviously, so I'll have to give it a little smack just to get it out. And there it is. It's all just coming out. I'll give it a little smack. There it goes. Alrighty. So there's the other bearing. You can see this one still moves a little bit, not too much play in it. Hopefully if you ever have to take one out, you at least get one that comes out as a whole. The reason for that being, whenever you clean it out a little bit on the side, it'll get you the part number on it. So we can clean this one out a little bit. There it is. We got this one. It is a 6004 RS bearing. So you come up to the other one, just to confirm. This one says 6203Z. It is so we obviously have two different bearings. Looking in comparison, I mean, I know it's kind of hard to probably see in there, but your inner one, which is the one that goes all the way on the inside of the knuckle, is slightly bigger. So now we know that we have to get two different size bearings for them, and that's kind of hard to see on hand, but you can kind of see a slight difference between them. This one's the outer one. It's kind of like on I don't know if you ever built like any kind of pickup truck or anything. The inside bearing, the inner bearing is always going to be bigger. The outside it's usually got the little smaller one. So the rear ones were both the same size. In this case, we have two different size bearings, so we'll have to get those ordered and basically clean all this up, clean the hub, clean the rotor, make sure everything is super nice, and basically lubricate everything properly. I know these are seal bearings, but I still like to lubricate everything inside to keep that from happening. You know, you have a bunch of mud, dirt, and everything crawling in there. Obviously these seals aren't going to do that well of a job. I mean, they're okay, but obviously we still got a bunch of stuff that got in there. You probably have, you know, water, mud, dirt, whatever, all get in there, so it's definitely not a good thing. Let me go ahead and show you the other side real quick to see what I'm talking about. So here we have two different size bearings. You can see the difference. And you have your inner one, you have your outer one, which goes right out here. And you can tell that it requires two different ones. The diameter of the shaft, it's a whole lot thicker here than it is over here. But there we go. We got those there. Not too bad. Not sponsored. I'm just thirsty. Alrighty. So here was my main concern on the driver's side, and the reason for that being is you have my hub and everything. I already got it all apart, but we have here, this is the inner bearing. One goes all the way in the back. That is the inner bearing seal. And then we have the this was the outer bearing, whatever's left of it basically. So you can just see this was the centerpiece where you have all the little ball bearings, you know, riding on. The seal was pretty much garbage. This was part of the actual bearing itself, where the part number would be. So it's always nice to have at least a good one so you can go off of. And the main reason why I'm doing this is because on these, not much information about these Chinese ATVs out there. The manual doesn't really do it any justice. I just got tired of looking around, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and tear it apart and do my own work and hopefully help others in the process. So now we know that we need 2 inner bearings with seal. This one wasn't terrible, but you can tell it's already on its way out. So we'll have to get 2 inner bearings for the inside, and we'll need 2 outer ones, and obviously the seals for them. So there are also different sizes on the seals. You can see the inner one, it's a little bit wider because it needs to go over that lip. This lip, I'm sorry, I'm not even showing y'all. It basically rides on that. You know, when you have the hub all the way pushed in, just kind of sits up there like that. And then we'll have the inner one that'll basically go out here, or for lack of better words, right there on the hub itself. So 2 different styles of bearings, 2 different seals. We'll get